Well, hey, I'm live, and holy smokes, that was fast. It just was like boom, just went for it. I hope that everybody is having an awesome pre-Christmas week. It's as you think that we all kind of have a good idea about when Christmas is going to come, but it seems to sneak up Christmas. Oh, we don't need to hear me coming out of those speakers. Oh, and everyone. Um, there we go. Lunch with Mal 2023 retrospective. I don't like technically I should probably do the 2023 retrospective next week, but it's happening this week. I'm sorry. A big part of my 2023 retrospective is my Spotify looking back. Um, I know that's exactly what you expected me to say, right? You're like, wait, it's Spotify. But one of the most interesting things, hey, honey, is that there's songs on my Spotify playlist for 2023 that I've never heard before. So thanks Spotify for gaslighting me about what I've been listening to. It did say I listened to 71 genres, which sounds about right. Because I've listened to a lot. Hey Jana, and say hi. Everybody else is here. Say hi. Happy to have you. Um, but I think one of the things that this time of year, lots of times we're looking forward, planning for the next year, and that's a good thing. But I also feel like planning for next year perhaps shouldn't happen in earnest until we've done a retrospect on the prior year. When I used to be a software developer, we used the agile um, programming, or not programming, but like development process. And in agile, you work in sprints, which are like 5 to 7, maybe 9 days, where you basically chunk the work up really small. And before starting the next sprint, and even before you do the detailed planning for the upcoming sprint, you do a retrospective. And every person looks back on the year before and says what went well, what didn't go well. For not well in a sprint, it's not a year, it's the sprint, which is like 5 to 7 days. But same thing for 2023. What went well, what didn't go well, and what can you do to improve? Oh my god. I just naturally did the European way of counting to three on your fingers because the US way is in Canada is like 1, 2, 3, but in Europe it's 1, 2, 3. I've I've changed. I'm now European. Um, that's awesome, Rose. I'm glad you're here. I like doing my lives live as well. Don't know what that means. So yeah, I'm curious if anybody has anything that they would like to list out as what went well, what didn't go well, and what can they improve. Um, I'd be happy to hear it, happy to see it. For me, um, I think there's two things that went well. I know you can have more than one. You can. Um, One of them is Solaris, getting phase one of Solaris done, getting back into software development. Um, that was really good, and I have such big plans for that. I'm ready to dive into phase two and possibly hire someone to help with phase two in the new year as well. Um, and the other thing I think is that Jill and I have taken the writing lives sort of to a new level, and I sort of conquered some personal demons around just worrying about, am I giving people enough? And that's allowed us to now start doing ads done for you, which is basically agency style ads where we just run the ads for you. And you just pay a rate, and we're not teaching you how to run ads, we're just doing it, which is a change. Because when you're teaching someone to do ads, your goal is not to have successful ads. It takes some pressure off of you. But when you're doing it for someone, the goal is to have successful ads, and you have to perform. So that was a big thing. So those are two things that went well: Solaris, um, and ads done for you, and just sort of like the strength of our business in general. Um, something that didn't go well, I would say, was focus. I've been struggling with focus for years now, um, possibly for my entire life. And I'm really good at focusing on the urgent things. I call it tyranny of the urgent, right? Like whatever the most urgent thing is wins. And so when I'm doing consulting or back when I used to be a software developer, like I had deadlines, and or even when I was like, it was like write or starve. Back when I first went full time, that was urgent. So the thing that was the most urgent won, and I did that. And ever since sort of going crazy for a couple of years writing, I've been trying to find balance, and balance, I feel like balance is like the elusive goal that we all have that we possibly never achieve. I don't know. Um, so that's what didn't go well, um, for 2023. I think I actually have decent balance, but it's come at this with the sacrifice of focus. Um, because for me to have balance in my life between work life balance, I have to um, I have to not bow to the most urgent thing. But I've spent so long focusing only on the most urgent thing that when I'm not driven by you have to do this thing now or else, I have a really hard time focusing and knowing where to prioritize my efforts and stuff like that. So that's what didn't go well. And I kind of feel like the thing that I might do this. I think what I need to do this year is I actually need to talk to um, a doctor or psychiatrist about possibly a prescription for my ADHD. Um, and she has this one last drug that I'm going to try. I've only tried a little bit because she just had a sample and it's working so well for her. I didn't want to chew up her entire sample, but I've taken it twice now, and I felt very inspired to be productive and able to spot things that need to be done, and then focus on them and get them done. Um, Twice now, so hopefully that lasts. But I think I need to basically say, like, if this doesn't work, and if I can't get myself to have the focus I know I need to have, then I think it's time to actually like get medication, for ADHD. Which I don't know, like ADHD is also one of my superpowers, right? Because with ADHD comes hyperfocus, and you can use stress to trigger hyperfocus, which is actually how I've got everything done in my life. I get stressed out about needing to hit a deadline. Um, that triggers hyperfocus, and I zoom in on what I need to do and I get it done. But I don't want to live my life always being stressed, right? Like that's no way to live. The other thing I've discovered too is I do my best work when I'm stressed and hyperfocusing. So I'd like to figure out how to not have it be like that. And I've not ever done that before. So perhaps actual medication will help. I should try it, right? I'd be crazy not to try it. Um, Better living through chemistry. I mean, I already do that for some things, Jana. So yeah, I should be doing it here too. Um, I'm glad, Beverly, you've got the same goal here. Focus for 2024. Oh, hi, Jewel. Nice to see you as well. And Judith. Afternoon with Mal. Afternoon tea with Mal. I like that actually. It's like fun. Afternoon tea with Mal. Um, so yeah, that's my big goal. So who has some retrospective things for 2024, things that, sorry, for 2023, things that went well, didn't go well, and what you can do to improve them? I'm curious if anyone's given that any thought yet, looking back. And I think it's really important, though, by the way, to actually think about what went well, because you need to think about your wins, to motivate yourself. If all you do is focus on the things that you didn't do well, that's very demotivating, you know. And when you're done with the retrospective, you have to reorient yourself toward your goals as well. Because I always say we move in the direction we're pointed. I'm not big on woo woo. I don't discount woo woo things. Like I've lived in a haunted house. I've seen things fly off shelves, um, and stuff like that. I've had empty rooms growl at me, all sorts of things. So like I don't disbelieve, but I'm also very scientific in my approach, right? So like if I can't quantify and repeat something, I don't really base a lot of like theories around it. I need to be able to I need to basically put something through some scientific rigor, which is why like I believe in a lot of like things that are unexplained by traditional science. But at the same time, I don't like base my life around them. But one thing that I have been able to prove for myself over and over again is that you move in the direction you're pointed. And many people know that by another name called manifestation, where basically if you in manifestation, if you say a thing and you focus on a thing and you repeat a thing or you write it, and you have affirmations and whatnot, then you start to believe them and they start to come true for you. And I say like that's just because you walk forward, right? If you're looking at the ground, or you're looking back at past failures, or you're distracted looking off to the side, it's really hard to get to that goal. You have to have your eyes on the prize. So that's what I like to do. So after I retrospect, I think about the things in the past that I did that were good and bad. I reorient myself on my goals and what I want to do for the following year. So let's see, Facebook user, which is Judith, says, went well, published 3 books, sold another to a small press, and won Nano for the 9th time. Nice. Oh, that's a rough, not so well, Judith. I'm sorry that happened. But perhaps there's a silver. I'm guessing there's a silver lining or two there as well. What's your goal for improvement? What's the thing you're going to change? Jill does live very much in the woo, and Jill actually is, as with most things in my life, has been instrumental in adjusting, setting, refining my view on a lot of things, because I didn't believe in manifestation at all until Jill one time put a check on the fridge that said, from the universe, $100,000, and then that happened. I think the current check needs to be increased. I think it just says $350,000. I think we got to increase that check from the universe. Let's see. Jewel says, best sales of the year ever, because of ads, despite being displaced for months from my house from a flood. Oof, that's rough. I'm impressed that you got the focus and the determination to keep all that going while you were out of your house. That's, especially with a flood, because that's not just like I'm away from my house and my shit's okay. That's like everything is in shambles and I have to rebuild. That's a lot. I'm impressed. Ashley says, focus is my biggest weakness as well. I just started my first ever ADHD med this week and it was incredible. My mind was so quiet and peaceful. Well, that's really encouraging. I'm glad to hear that. It's like Quicksilver running through the X Mansion, saving everyone now. That's so cool. I'm so excited about that. That's really awesome. Let's see. Jenna says, I got one book out and launched a business despite major back surgery. That's impressive. That's a win for sure. Going forward, I want to bump the numbers back up to pre-health issue status and figure out how to do this without creating more health issues. Yes, right? Like, if you burn the candle at both ends, you're just going to end up back where you were. So I think focus is the thing, right? It's like we got to focus on what's working and stop doing the things that aren't working. In fact, that's always been one of my huge mantras. Identify the things that aren't working and stop doing them. Like 80% of our successes come from 20% of our effort. And while it's good to know what that 20% is, we really also need to know what that 80% is, because 80% of the work you do is only generating 20% of your success. If you can figure out what that 80% is and stop doing it, you can either A, just relax, or B, you suddenly could like double your efforts or more, but you don't have to, and then double your results. All right. Beverly says, good things, continue to publish books. Bad things, every project comes down to last minutes. Oh my God, I know that one so well. Biggest goal of the year is to actually not push things off and stick to plan schedule. Yes, the procrastination and executive dysfunction, right? Like where you're just like, you look at the thing, you have to do the thing, it's sitting there and you just cannot bring yourself to do it. That's like really hard. Stop doing the things that aren't working. Just stop. This is good. I'm glad that everyone's like actually been giving some thought to this stuff, or is now at least. If you hadn't been before, it's good to think about it. And 2024 is going to have a lot of changes for us as authors. I think we're going to see a host of things happen. We're going to see the rise of the direct sales. It's been like bubbling around for some years now, right? Like direct sales is not new. People have been doing it for half a decade or more. But now we're getting to a point where enough people have done it and have enough expertise and experience in it that we can start to say like, hey, here's best practices and here's don't do's. Whereas before, every person was sort of like, foraging ahead on their own. It's all just like 30-foot bamboo and you with your machete trying to figure out what to do. And now we actually have some paths we can go down, which is really nice. So I think that's an obvious one. I actually think the other thing that we might see this year is the return, is the rise of the small publisher. I don't know if it'll actually be something that's terribly effective or not, but I do feel like direct sales, well, we're going to enter into the scenario where a lot of people are like, look, like writing the books running a small business where I provide products to retailers is one thing, but also becoming the retailer, that is more than I'm capable of doing. Because it's like it's a whole other job. Like not only are you making the thing and shipping the thing like you're a warehouse and having to manage all the parts of the thing being made, well, now you're running a storefront, you know, and you have to do all those parts. It's a lot. So I think we're probably going to start to see authors banding together to form like small publishing groups where they have like a website that does all their direct sales, and maybe they actually have some dedicated jobs where some people are handling formatting and marketing and stuff like that. And I feel like it could be a rise of a new type of small publisher where it's almost like a co-op publisher in a way. I think that'll actually be pretty interesting and could start to make it so that authors don't have to know how to do everything. It's going to include tons of risk though, because as it starts up, who knows how good different people are going to be at different things. Some will probably go great and some will probably go terrible. Just like doing anthologies with other authors, right? Sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it's not amazing. So it's going to be along those lines, I think. All right, doing the Zoe Bub. Who's doing the Zoe Bub? Jewel's doing the Zoe Bub. Should I change my ads all or let it ride? So you're going free. How long are you going to be going free for in Zoe Bub? If you're only going to be free for like 2 to 3 days, I would not touch my ads because we're sort of like in a weird volatile time of year and you could just completely break them. So if you're just doing like 2 or 3 days, I would just let them ride. If you're going to do a week or more, I might just decrease my spend a little bit. Or if you're just like, hey, I'm only spending $10 a day. If I have 5 days of no return on my ads, that'll be okay because I know the Zoe Bub's going to kill it for me. I actually kind of have beef with the Zoe Bub this year. I'm not a huge fan of free books. I don't like perma-free. I think that as authors, it's risky to put the idea in readers' heads that they can just get as many books as they want for free without authors getting paid. I don't think that's a great thing for us as authors. That being said, limited time free runs can work really well and have a place in an author's marketing strategy. But the week between Christmas and New Year's, especially for romance, is a peak time of year for readers consuming books and making KU authors a ton of money, and for making authors who are wide good money from all of those Amazon gift cards. And taking what should be a good revenue week for the year and flooding the market with free books during that week is not my idea of sound marketing for all of us. If you're in it, I'm like go for it, right? Because like you either ride the wave or get swept under by it. So I have no issue with people saying, well, it's happening, I'm going to get in on it. Like, I kind of wish that it was happening like in the middle of February instead of December 27th. That's just my 2 cents on the Zoe Bub. But you said 5 days. If your spend is low, then I would just lower your spend. If you can afford, what am I trying to say here? If you're going to be running free for 5 days, I wouldn't turn off the ads. I would probably lower the spend to basically whatever you can afford to effectively just sort of lose on those books. All right, who said this? Ashley said, I've been trying so hard. This is like, now I'm just like, Killjoy? What's the drawing with the guy with like the hands? I can't remember what that drawing's called. We used to do it all the time as kids. Anyway, I've been trying so hard to get my writing business stable and profitable. Failed for what it's worth. I forgot a lot of self-care in the sprint. I'd like to learn how to step away from my work so I can work on it and feel those benefits. That's a good idea. Unless they get new series out, create a teeny bit bigger backlist. So I'll have to read through. That's key. The bigger your backlist, the more you get out of your efforts. Every effort yields more fruit, the bigger your backlist is. You let that crock pot backlist do its job. Yes, that's I like that crock pot backlist. I don't think I got all your text in here. Okay, I guess actually, oh, there we are. I couldn't even see it all in the software I'm using here. Easier said than done. Double edge win loss. My debut series was fairly well received, though my read through is abysmal, like truly terrible. 30 36% read through to book 2, which actually is not terrible. My ratings are average 4.06, but they aren't being hated, but I'm definitely having a significant drop off at book 1. So after changing gears and bringing to life a new series in 2024, more universe entry points. That's good. As far as read through is concerned, calculate your KU read through and your sales sell through separately. Sales sell through from a book 1 to book 2 for a new series is often in the 20 to 30% range. Maybe 40% would be good for sell through. 50% is like, oh my God, you're killing it. For KU though, KU should be 40% the bare minimum for read through. So I'm kind of curious what that 36% number consists of, because it may not be abysmal. I would not consider, if that's an average of everything, I would not consider that to be abysmal. To answer your question, my past failures and successes bring more peaceful 2024. I like that. All right. Rosa says, I launched a new pen name and hope to do all the things like work with the writing wise. Oh, thanks. To help take the marketing my new series in a positive direction. Unfortunately, my word for 2023 has been sadness due to some loss. I'm sorry. I like that. That's a good word for 2024. Rebirth. Yes. Got to be the phoenix sometimes, because life will do that. Every now and then life will burn us to ashes, and we got to figure out how to come back from it, right? You're very welcome. I'm happy to share the knowledge I have. Oh, this is a fear I have. So this is in reference to the Zoe Bob. Doing these blasts and big free days are making it really hard for people to get people to pay for books. There were 2,400 books in the last blast. So my read through was rough. Yeah, and a lot of people saw big dips in the week or two after the Zoe Bub because people have so many free books to read. They don't need to pay money for books. Kilgore. Is it Kilgore? I guess it is, isn't it? I kept thinking Killjoy. That's what I wanted to say. In my mind was Killjoy. But yeah, you're right. It was Kilgore was here. Yeah. We discuss your use of the word prognostication. All right. Well, now I'm feeling like I need to double check that I use the word prognostication correctly. You would love it as writers. Most of us are readers, right? So we learned a lot of words just reading them in context in books. And sometimes the context in the book was like a rarely used meaning or usage of that word. And then we use it like that all the time. And then we're like, oh God, I'm no one is taking this word the way I meant it to be. Okay, good. I'm using prognostication correctly. Just want to make sure that I didn't have the wrong meaning. I've done it before, but I do like the word prognostication. I do like to use it. It sounds like better than like, it makes it, to me, using prognostication, I use it because it makes it sound a little bit less like I know what's going to happen in the future and more like, here's just some random ass thoughts I have on the future, and maybe a little bit self-deprecating in a way. Just because it feels like a ridiculous word. I don't know, the sound of the word, the feel of my tongue, it feels a little bit silly. So I can be like a little bit like tongue in cheek when I prognosticate. That's why I'm going for it. That's why I use it. But in a way, one thing that's kind of neat too is like this is my last time on video before Christmas. Which means I have to do myself up tomorrow. I don't think so. Oh no, I do have to look good tomorrow because the furnace people are coming by. And Sunday, I guess we're just decorating cookies, but Jill will want to take pictures. Monday's Christmas, Jill will want to take pictures, so I better look good then too. And then Tuesday, the furnace guys are back. And then Wednesday, I've got to stay all dolled up for like the next week. Oh well, it's not like it's the end of the world. I do it all the time anyway. That's what happens if you shave your eyebrows off and paint them on every day. You kind of have to keep up with it, or you look weird. I really need to get my eyebrows just tattooed on, so that won't be a problem anymore. Yeah, silly feeling words. Exactly. That's awesome, Danica, that we feel the same way. We're taking pictures every day from now till January 4th. From now till January 4th, honey. That's the Thursday. I mean, I'm doing regular calls again starting on the 2nd, so I'll be presentable. Oh, and January 3rd is Eva's birthday. So we're going. So for those of you who watched Friends back in the 90s, remember the Central Perk, the coffee shop they always went to? Well, official central perks are opening up, and the first one is in Boston. So we are going to the Central Perk in Boston on January 3rd, and we are stoked about it. So yeah, definitely pictures that day for sure. Um, all right, so read through data, my favorite thing ever from Ashley. Funny enough, my read through for KU is 38%, and my sell through is matching at 38%. Oh, yeah, and actually, the a couple of years ago, the read throughs I quoted in that article were what I would have considered to be good read through, but because there's just so many books out there now, read throughs are just lower than they used to be. It's harder to get people to stick with you when they have so many options. So it is a bit lower. I mean, I wouldn't say that 38% is great, um, but it's not abysmal. Well, for your sell through is not abysmal. Your read through being that low in KU is really weird. Um, like really weird. What are you using to calculate that? Are you using like the page? Are you using like Book Report or something when Book Report tells you how many full reads those numbers convert to or something? Because that seems, I've never seen anybody have the same, even within a couple percent, have the same KU read through as sell through. That's weird. Dun, dun, dun. Kidding, but at the same time, lots of different eyebrow styles. Sorry. Well, what I want to do is I want to get my eyebrows tattooed on like really thin, like not as thick as this, and then I can try different styles on top of that. Um, but then also just not have to worry about them just not being there sometimes. Although I draw these on with waterproof eyeliner because I got tired of like because I left to their own devices, my eyebrows will basically grow like full on Gandalf size eyebrows, right? Like they have wings sticking out and they flutter and flap and so on. So I plucked them quite vigorously for some time, but I kind of got tired of that. And now I just shave them off and just draw them on because I have to pluck them and then like use the brushes to fill it all in where I wanted them and all of that. And they were actually always kind of sparse. They just seemed not to be sparse because they were so long. I could grow. I was able to grow like back in the day, like inch long eyebrow hair, like overnight practically. Um, so yeah, so now I just shaved it off, and I'm like one day I'm like maybe I should try just sharpieing on my eyebrows. So I got my liquid eyeliner. I just drew them on, and now it's there. So what's iconic, Marisha? My eyebrows or friends? The Central Perk, or both. It could be both, right? Totally. Let's see. So, I should talk about other things for 2024. Oh, wait, first. Using the Amazon AdSchool maximum bid spreadsheet where I can log each of my total KU per book, and I can also log my paid book and paperback sales as well. Formula sales are locked. Okay, yeah, I'd be interested to see what Solaris says as well. I don't know how the Amazon AdSchool does those calculations. I've not used their system, although most people's spreadsheets are based on the spreadsheet that I built in 2017. So it's probably correct. I get to say that like I was the first person to do this. I mean, I wasn't the first person to do it, I'm sure, but I was the first person to put one out there for everybody to use. Because I'd spent so long working in businesses where you had to know not only your total cost of sale, you have to know your total cost of sale, your total cost of manufacture, your COGS, and then also like what's the actual value of the sale with renewals and customer life cycle and all that. And I'm like, wow, as authors, we really need to know this. I'm a bit of a pioneer. Like, okay, so crazy random question. Who used to play any of the old Unreal Tournament games, like Unreal Tournament 99 or 2003, or like the like older Counter Strikes, like back before Source came out, like Counter Strike 1.6, like back in like 2004 or something like that? I'm just curious, are there any gamers in our midst, in the mix or in our midst? Either one of those will work. It's getting a little bit nippy in this room right now. It's kind of tricky to manage my temperature in this room because the computers make it really hot and the sun shining in makes it really hot. So I open the door and then it gets really cold. And if the sun goes behind a tree or a cloud, it gets really cool in here. but it's not cool because apparently it's 80 degrees right now. I'm just feeling cold because it was like 85 a couple minutes ago. All right. Anyway, all right. So we got no gamers. That's kind of sad. Well, I mean, you play with gamers, right? You just don't play those games. That's okay. I forgive you all. Um, so I'm curious who's going to be who's doing direct sales now, or is thinking that they're going to try and do direct sales in 2024 as well. Didn't play those games. Gold box games. Oh man, who played Guild Wars? Judith, I played Guild Wars back in the day. I never played Guild Wars 2. I was a Guild Wars 1 girl. I played a lot of Guild Wars. Tons of it actually. What games, Jody, what games did you play? You didn't play those games. What do you got going on? I was gonna say because I was gonna puff myself up a bit more because back in the days of like Unreal Tournament and stuff like that, I worked for a gaming company where we hosted dedicated servers for games, and at one point we hosted 75% of all Unreal Tournament games in the world. Um, and I guess I don't even remember why I was talking about that. I think it's because Pioneer, because we did some new things for that too, and some of them involved like just like doing things and sharing them and being happy that everybody else uses them. Let's see. Still trying to build my baby brand. Who said that? Oh, Ashley. Yeah, you did building your brand with the retailers first makes sense. I think that totally makes sense. Beverly says direct sales scare me. Yes, direct sales are complicated because, like I said before, it's not only are you doing all the small business things that you're doing already, you add retailer to that list, and that's a lot of stuff. What was I going to say? I'm going to be doing a class in January, perhaps a little bit later in January. I don't know if Jill and I picked a date yet, but we should probably do that pretty soon. And it's going to be build a Shopify store along with Mal. And it's going to be a 2 to 3 hour class. And I'm just going to sit down and build a whole ass Shopify store with you guys all there. And you can build along with me, or you can watch and ask questions and take notes. And at the end of it, I'll have a Shopify store, and you will too. There also will be a recording, so you can watch the first time, and then then maybe the second time follow along with recording or something like that, and see how it is to build a Shopify store. But I think the first thing about that is it can be done in a couple of hours. The question, of course, then is how are you profitable with it? Maybe it'll be a two-parter. It'll be build a Shopify store, and then the second part will be run ads to your Shopify store. Perhaps I might be able to get a lot of it in the 1 hour though. Arcade player, SimCity. Man, I played SimCity 4. I want to say it was, whichever one came out in like 1994. Played a lot of that SimCity. That was fun. I do right now. The game in our house is Overwatch. Jill and I play Overwatch almost every night, and many nights we get Eva to join in with us, and she's really good at it because she's 13 and has kid reflexes, and they're really fast. But we usually do pretty well. We're usually top of our team, which is nice. So I feel like I'm running out of things to talk about. I feel like it's the meds I took today. I was so focused and on target at the beginning of the talk and said all these really salient, poignant things. Now I'm like, damn, what else do I talk about? One of the things that blows me away about the Lunch with Mal's, though, I think I've mentioned this before, is how many people watch the replay. So hi to all the replay people. I love that you're here and you're watching. And anybody who's watching the replay and makes it this far, add the comment syrup, or work the word syrup into a comment, and I'll know you watched the replay and made it this far. And you can be part of the elite club of replay people. And I guess anybody watching live can also do it too. Now, if you're watching live, don't use syrup. You can make a comment that somehow at some point contains the word fungus. There you go. A little bit harder for the people watching live. You don't have to do it either. It's just me being weird and silly. People do that, right? Like you got to get audience engagement going. So you got to come up with fun games to play. That's where we're going with that. Anybody else have? Actually, here's the thing that I'm interested in knowing what people think. What is your greatest fear for 2024? What's the thing that when you're you're feeling scared, you're feeling like maybe you're unable to do this. What is the thing that's holding you back? What's the thought you have that that makes you think that this is something you can't have, or that maybe you'll lose what you do have? Mostly in the writing area. I am not qualified to be your therapist, so I can only really provide help about the writing side of things. But biggest fear for 2024. Who's got one? All right. Oh, I missed a comment from Jody. Roland gave me a Pac-Man arcade game for my birthday. So I've been playing that daily. Walk by the big old machine and play a game. Wait, it's a full-size Pac-Man machine? Are you kidding me? Okay, that's cool. I actually like simple games like that too, because I think they're good brain exercise games. You know, like you don't lose yourself in it. You just kind of give your brain a little warm up. I think it's really good. Full size. That is awesome. Full size Pac-Man machine. I kind of want a full size Pac-Man machine. I wonder if you could make a full size machine that had multiple games loaded into it, and you could then pick your game. I mean, of course you could. You could just put a computer in there. Roadside office store. That's super cool. Marcia is afraid of failure. But failure in what way? Like, dig a little bit deeper. Like, what do you think is going to fail? That you're not going to be able to write the books that you want to write, that they won't sell, that people won't like them, that you want to start a new pen name and you don't think you'll be able to pull it off, that you won't get the tropes right. Like, how do you think that failure is going to take shape? Because if it's nebulous, if it's the nothing from the never-ending story, well, you can't beat that. But if you can give it a shape, if you can give it a form, that fear of failure, then you can beat it. So, Dig Dug. Well, that's cool. I love it. Multiple games. That's awesome. Biggest fear of 2024. If someone TikTok finds out I use AI for various assistants and then blasts me, then rallies the witch hunters and they cancel me before I ever get started. That is more of a problem in some genres than others. I think if someone accuses you of using AI, block them. Like if they're witch hunting, right? If they're coming after you and they want to destroy your life because you're using AI and they don't understand how AI works, or they think they do and they're wrong, just block them and move on. My mind, people who are, now there are problems with AI. I'm not saying AI is this perfect thing. Just like there's problems with cars, right? Cars kill people a lot, and sometimes they blow up, and sometimes gas stations blow up, and they break and they're expensive. And back when we were moving from horses to cars, that's the direction we went. There'd be people that would walk by someone on a car and say, like, get a horse, and we're experiencing that with AI right now with this new set of tools. Just like people used to say that if you don't have a big publisher, you're not publishing, or if you're drawing art on a tablet, it's not real art. So where are those people now, though? Where are the get a horse people? Right? So, they'll eventually it won't be relevant anymore. So I would just block them and move on. I know that doesn't mean it won't have any impact if that does happen, because these witch hunts do happen, and it won't have an emotional toll on you. But the faster you sort of just like get that stuff out of your face, the better. Join the AI groups, right? Hang out in the pro AI groups and get your fix that way. The marketing and the feeling overwhelmed. Hopefully, like, no one's terribly offended by what I said about AI or is deeply against AI. Probably if you're here and you've heard me talk about AI before, you'll know that this is a space where we're aware of the risks that AI pose, but we're not going to witch hunt anyone or decry anyone for using them. We recognize that there are pros and cons to everything, and you have to be smart, or not smart, be well educated and cognizant of things. The marketing and feeling overwhelmed. So that was okay, because Marcia said failure, and I forced her to tell me what the failure was going to manifest as. Feeling overwhelmed is hard. I think that's something we all sort of face. And I think I had this boss who used to always say, like, when we were trying to plan something out, he'd be like, well, stop trying to boil the ocean, and I learned the skill of breaking things into bite-sized chunks and organizing my time. For me, it's my calendar. My calendar is where I organize all of my time. and everything that I'm going to be doing. That doesn't have to be the thing for everybody else. I am also switching over to being much more of a notebook person. Hopefully today, Jill, Eve and I are going to the Hallmark store to buy a last few presents for Jill. And as we do, it's one of our traditions before Christmas. We usually do it like it's just a couple days before Christmas. I'm going to buy some notebooks if I have any there that I like. I was going to do it at Barnes & Noble the other day, but the line was ridiculous. It was the longest I've ever seen a line at Barnes & Noble. I'm going to have like notebooks for different things, and I'm going to like use them a lot more. But break things into small bite-sized chunks. And then for marketing, I think it's don't chase shiny objects. Don't think that there's a silver bullet for marketing out there, that if you just like take all the classes and watch all the videos and try all the things, eventually you'll stumble across the silver bullet. There is no silver bullet when it comes to marketing. It's hard work. And it takes a lot of testing and trial and error and becoming comfortable with the process and so on. And so pick a platform, pick a place where you feel comfortable to start with and do your marketing there and get good at it. Biggest fear is a book I publish will be so bad that readers will stop reading and never sell another book. Beverly, I have published 127 books, and up until book 100, I thought to myself, this is the book where they all figure out that I'm a fraud and I don't know what I'm doing. And at book 100, I said to myself, Mallory, this is stupid. You've written 100 books and you've made an incredible living doing this. It's pretty silly for you to think that this is the book where they're going to figure out you're a fraud. And that's how I talked myself out of that. Now, it's been 3 years since I published a solo title, and I have a solo title coming really soon. So that fear's back. I feel like that's the fear that never goes away. I feel there's just no conquering that one, unfortunately. Even though, what you have to do is you have to basically say, like, I have subjective measurements in my life, and I have objective measurements in my life. And when I have a fear like this that I know is irrational, I need to go to the objective measurements. Go to one of your books, click 5-star, and read the 5-star reviews. Something like that, where you're just like looking at objective measurements that are telling you that you actually do know what you're doing. I actually recommend that. Scroll down to your reviews, and before you see any of them, click the 5 stars, and then it'll only show you 5-star reviews. It's like the little bar on the left where it has like the graph of all the different reviews. Click 5-star, it'll filter to 5-star, and then read some of those reviews. I think it'll be really good. And it might give you some ideas too of the things that your readers really like. All right. Wow, there's a lot. I'm behind. Greatest fear is not getting traction. 3 books out of a 6-book series, which will be all out mid-2024. Sales currently very slow as I soft publish out of sheer terror. When I have 6 out, I will experiment with ads. I think that's great. Get that backlist up and running, and then start playing with ads and seeing if you can get things working. And also do inexpensive things. Get a reader magnet for that series. Get that reader magnet in people's hands. You can run ads for the reader magnet and get people's email addresses. You put the reader magnet up on BookFunnel, get people's email addresses, and then you can market to them for free. And then your soft marketing that you're comfortable doing, like just telling your newsletter, will be hitting an increasingly larger group of people. And make it so you can do well. Steph and Joe Penn are so positive and welcoming. I think this is about the AI. So yes, Steph, and I'm guessing you're talking about Steph Pajonas. So yes, don't try to boil the ocean. Yeah, right. Yeah, don't boil the ocean. One pot at a time. It's all that's reasonable. No one else can do it. Exactly the fear. So I'm guessing that's about this is the one where they figure out I'm a fraud. I don't know what I'm doing. Yep, I know that so well. And then Jody said, Beverly publishing a bad book. So amazed me I could possibly have one click buy my books. No, they're if they're buying, if it's not book 1 with a brand new pen name and a brand new series, chances are your readers kind of know what they're getting, and you're giving them what they want, and they're happy about it. I learned that they're here because I'm giving them what they want, and if I try to change to please an imaginary reader that I've thought up in my head, I could actually stop doing the thing that's working. So whenever I'm writing a book, I can't remember who said this. I think it was Catherine Kristen Rush. Is that her name? Catherine Kristen Rush? I think that's her name. She's one of those the 3 name people that I get wrong. But she's amazing. And she said, when you're writing, you need to get everybody else out of your office. It's just you and your story. And when it comes to your story, No one knows what to do better than you do. You are the smartest person in the room when it comes to your story. So keep that in mind. People have come to you for stories because they like the way you tell a story. So don't let doubt screw that up for you. Keep doing the thing that is working for you. If it's not working, yeah, experiment. You're like, I did a series and I just could never get traction with it. But then maybe think about, like, what else could I do? Read a couple of books and be like, wow, I really like the way that story is done. Maybe even read books outside your genre and look for things that people are doing in stories that you like, and say, like, hey, maybe I could bring that to my genre and have something new and exciting. So totally an option as well. Um, I am I am running out of speak. I haven't been. This has been a really light week, and I'm like, wow, I have not talked steady for 50 minutes in a while now. I'm like, oh, my brain's tired. I don't know how people who do talk shows, like hour-long talk shows, manage that. I guess you got to get a high from it. I mean, I like it, but I feel like at a certain point, I'm just like, I'm running out of things. I'm running out of speak. But I guess they have producers and co-hosts and everything, so they have like all this ideation that occurs. Um, I I've mentioned this a couple times recently, and something for you guys to think about. If there's anybody that you'd love to see me have on a lunch with Mal along with me, possibly live, possibly pre-recorded for an interview or a chat or something like that, let me know, because I'm planning on in 2024. One of my plans is to expand this platform, the Lunch with Mal platform, and either have content for when I'm on trips, or maybe sometimes even have someone else live. So if there's anybody that you guys would love to see, drop a comment or message me or email me at Mallory@thewritingwives.com. So Mallory, just like it's spelt on the screen here, at thewritingwives.com, and say, like, hey, Mal, you should interview Steph Bajonas or something like that. Um, whatever you think would be great, and we could totally do that. You said this. Oh, thanks, Judith. That's very sweet. Thank you. I look forward to lunches with Mel in the new year too. I really love doing this. It's a ton of fun. I look forward to it every week. I never know what I'm going to talk about until like the day of, pretty much, except for I think yesterday I actually knew what I was talking about mostly. But yeah, I love doing this. Let's see. And Jody says my narrator records live on TikTok and I listen in. Oh, that's so cool, Jody. And yeah, what a cool way to realize you are a damn good storyteller. I love that. That is awesome. That's super awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Steph's always great. I love Steph. She's amazing. Steph's been such a voice in the community for so long and has given so much, that I feel like for her presence in the community is as much of a legacy for her as her writing. I'm continually impressed by her. So it could be very cool to have her come on. All right. Well, I am going to jet. It has been a slice of heaven chatting with you all. Hope you guys have an amazing Christmas, or I guess Hanukkah's over now. Wonderful Festivus. The Festivus for the rest of us, around, was it the aluminum pole and the airing of grievances, that one has to have at Festivus. So I hope you guys have a good whatever that you do. Holidays, time with family, time alone to reflect and plan for the new year, all that stuff. And I'll see you guys next week. Next will be the last one in 2023. Be crazy. All right. Oh, Kate Pickford, that's a good one. Elena Johnson, Sarah Cannon, live. Oh my God. All right. I'm just going to grab this list that Ashley just gave us here. Let me just toss that into a Slack window for Jill and I to talk about. Jill, there we go. Boom. Guest authors. I love that. Thank you. It's like Ashley's just like, boom, here's your list, Mal. Go talk to these people. All right. See you guys later. Have a wonderful time. And as always, shoot, I don't say a thing as always. I don't know why I started to say that. As always, painted side up. That's what my dad used to say whenever we go out driving as kids. He'd be like, remember, keep the painted side up. So painted side up. All right. Bye, everyone.